Hi, I'm Katie, and today I'm going to be listing my top 5 favorite sequels. Most of the sequels on my list are great books that just happen to be sequels, and I think that they definitely deserve some credit in their own right. So I guess we'll just get started. Number 5 on my list is Shadow of Night by Deborah Harkness. It's the sequel to A Discovery of Witches in a series that I think is called the All Souls trilogy. You may have heard this series compared to Twilight. It's supposed to be, grown-up Twilight, and it definitely is. I wouldn't say it's the best or most original story ever, but it's fun to read, just like Twilight was. What made Shadow of Night so interesting is that there's time travel involved. I think the writer did a really good job of representing the Elizabethan era and all of the characters from that time, the famous writers and artists and noble people. I believe the writer is also an historian, so her description of the Elizabethan time period is really wonderful, interesting, and even though you probably don't want to go to Elizabethan England or France, you may think you do when you read this book. Number 4 on my list is A Monstrous Regiment of Women by Laurie R. King. This is from the Mary Russell series. The first book in this series is called The Beekeeper's Apprentice, and it's about a young woman named Mary Russell who happens to stumble upon Sherlock Holmes, and he takes her on as an apprentice. Of course, as she grows up and matures, there's definitely a hint of something more, which is exactly what you get out of A Monstrous Regiment of Women. These are, of course, mystery novels. I actually read A Letter of Mary first in a class that I took, which is the 3rd novel in the series, but A Monstrous Regiment of Women was my favorite. It's really fun. There's a lot of action. Mary Russell is a great character, and I just really enjoyed it. Number 3 on my list is Catching Fire by Suzanne Collins from the Hunger Games series. I don't think much needs to be said. The Hunger Games series was one of the first that I read when I was starting to get back into reading other books and reading a variety of genres and things like that. I think Catching Fire is really complex, and I love knowing more about the characters. The only complaint I have is the fake love triangle that doesn't actually exist, but I could talk about that forever, so we'll just move on. Number 2 on my list is Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince by J.K. Rowling. Out of all of the Harry Potter books, this one is my favorite, and I think the movie did a horrible job of showing what happens in the book. I think it was much more interesting in the novel, and I love the relationship between Harry and Ginny and everything that's going on. It's so normal for a while, and then you kind of jump right back into the drama of Voldemort and all of that. It's always fun when your favorite characters get together. And finally, my number 1 sequel is The Subtle Knife by Philip Pullman from the His Dark Materials series. The Golden Compass was a really interesting, great book. It was fun to read. I love the feel of the series and everything, but The Subtle Knife was incredible, and I just think it took everything to a whole other level, and it really pulled it up out of, this is a story about a little girl. I mean, she has to grow up really fast. She's dealing with intense, scary things, and I haven't read it in years, actually. I think I'm gonna try and read it this year if I have time. It stuck with me, and I always think of it as one of my favorite books. Also, I think that the 3rd book in the series was one of the first books that I really got upset about when I read the ending. So, if you read through the whole series, you're gonna get something really special at the end, even if it isn't the perfect ending that maybe you would hope for. So those were my top 5 favorite sequels. If you like any of these books, let me know in the comments, and I hope you're having a great Wednesday, and I will see you later. Bye!